In 2006, we'd had a bit of a quiet year, and an opportunity reared its head by Subaru America asking Colin and I to go and do X Games. America had always been off the radar as far as the World Rally Championship's concerned. Yes, they'd had 2 rounds of the championship when it was called the Olympus, but that was back in the mid-80s. So Colin McRae, with the whole rally game thing, as far as a lot of Americans were concerned, they thought that he was actually some fictitious Scottish character who they put on the front page of a cover of a rally game, and they didn't really think that this man was real. That was until Subaru America enticed us to go and compete in X Games using a Group N Subaru, and our teammates was the late Ken Block, of course, and Travis Pastrana, who was the big star, motorbike star, trickster on motorbike, doing incredible things. And, you know, they'd been rallying for the whole season with Subaru America. We went there and said, yes, that'd be great, and we thought it'd be quite interesting. Everybody knows a bit about the stadium, which we'll look in a minute, but we actually had a rally. I can't remember how many stages. There was something like 5 or 6 stages to the north of Los Angeles up in the mountains. But we had to use these pace notes, which were in the American Championship, which everybody used for the whole season, which was numbered 1 fast and 6 slow. Well, anybody that knows Colin's notes, his notes go 6 fastest, 1 slowest. So it took a bit of persuasion to the stewards of the meeting to allow us just to reverse the numbers. But reverse the numbers we were allowed to do, and they randomly checked a few pages just to make sure it was fine. So anyway, off we set, and of course, X Games champion, we thought that would be really cool to win. So we got in our Subaru, went to the first stage, and I can't remember where we were running on the road, but I remember coming out at the end of the first stage, and we decided that we were going to just drive it and see what the feeling was like, what the notes were like. Anyway, we finished the stage. Travis take 11 seconds out of us, and Colin looked at me. He said, right, well, that's that then. He said, there's no time for us to go messing around trying to catch him, you know, let him go away and get used to the notes. We're just going to have to push. So we went into the next stage, equally as tricky, very tight and twisty, some of these stages. Anyway, we lessened the gap, but Travis still took time out of us. Well, anyway, after a couple of stages, we started to then take time out of him. But we had one stage used twice, which was only relatively short, but it was very fast with flat-out corners, 6 gear that you couldn't see around. And anyway, Colin pushed like mad. We managed to pull a lot of time out of Travis on those two, and we actually ended up with just a fraction of a second in second place behind Travis, of course, going down into the stadium in Los Angeles itself, and go head to head with him. So it was battle on. Now I'm going to play the video now. And here we go, sat on the start line, and we had this start off the outside. They'd taken chairs away in the corner. We went down the stadium into the base, and we had this big jump we had to negotiate and turn hairpin right straight off the back of it. So, okay, off we went. We were able to recce this and make our own notes, so that made it easier for us. So we did this little bit in the stadium, up the ramp on the outside, and then we went into the car parks and everything on the outside of the circuit. Now, we knew that we only had just a fraction of a second, and we thought, yeah, this should be doable now. And we actually had Derek Dauncey, who was our team manager. He was there with a pit board, you see.
In too long, too right, plus line.
Winning splits thus far. Nicky Grist talking to him on the intercom.
So after, I think it was about a kilometre or kilometre and a half in, he showed us the bit board, and we were 2 seconds faster. So we thought, oh, that's fine. You know, this was just before the roundabout section. And then we had this car park section on tarmac where, fair dues to Colin, on gravel tyres, he was pushing it to the limit, using all the road, drifting, but kept it perfectly tight. Now, this was only a Group N car. You know, he's used to much better machinery in Group A cars. But, you know, everything about his driving there was perfect. So we knew that coming back down into the stadium, we were going to be pretty much up on time. Colin in full style there, letting it flow and slide. But coming back into a jump now, back down into the circuit, Colin wanted to turn tight off this jump, and that happened. Basically, nobody could believe it. My God. And we rolled and landed straight back on our wheels and then just dragged this car around to actually, in the end, lose the stage by a second. But we had rolled, mind you. Now, of course, Travis Pastrana won, which was good news. And at the end of the day, for Travis to take the win like us and for us to finish second in the way that we did, I think was a much better result. And it was literally Colin just setting the car a little to be able to get some attitude that when it landed, he could drift it straight off the hairpin. It actually bounced and popped the tyre off the rim and it dug in. And just as we started to roll, I thought, oh, that's okay. It's going to fall on its wheels. No sooner I thought that, Colin went flat on the throttle, bop, 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 chunk. I could hear it go into gear as we were rolling. And he just dropped his clutch and off we went. I mean, it was one hell of a moment. And there was nobody more delighted in a second place than our sponsors, No Fear. Quite an apt sponsor for Colin, I would say. But that particular incident made national news, 6 o'clock news or whatever it is in America, on two channels, which was massive TV coverage. And one thing you can say, No Fear definitely got their money's worth out of Colin McRae and Nicky Grist.